All right. Presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 and use the promo code WELCOME to Light Years. Merry Christmas, Andy. Day after Christmas here. Fun. I don't know. Did you feel like so Warriors beat the Mavericks 126-116. That's their third straight win. They're about to go on the road. It does feel like they're locking into some rotation choices and stabilizing a little bit. As always, we'll see how long it goes. But I felt like, do you agree with me? Like that Christmas game, like it was a solid win, and I have no complaints about it. But like, it didn't feel like a Christmas game to me. It didn't have that like extra oomph of energy. And maybe it's just because the Mavs are like kind of tanking, rebuilding. I don't know. The Clay thing is like no longer like, ooh, Clay's coming back. Like it's been enough time. Again, great win. Good to see them starting to turn a corner, but didn't feel like the Christmas games of years past.
You remember when the Warriors lost to LeBron and Kyrie in 2017? This was KD's first year. Remember that?
Oh yeah, that was like a playoff game.
That was a playoff game. Everyone was like, the Cavs. You can get Kevin Durant. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The LeBron and Kyrie still better.
And then and then of course when it did matter, then they're like, it's not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah, start crying.
Glory days.
Those were the glory days. That's which is why Steve Kerr's fading dynasty quote I thought hit a little hard for me. Where it was, you don't get to hear. This is not really weird, but like you don't really get to hear people in the moment talk about stuff in the moment. Like you don't really hear about people say like, all right, this is kind of the end for us. Nobody says that, right? Like everyone's always kind of in denial until the end. So anyway, the Christmas game, I'm agreeing with you, man. Like as long as the Warriors win, we're happy. The Warriors need wins, dude. They finally get over 500. But AD got hurt as he always does midway. Brandon Williams going for almost 30 points, kind of par for the course. But the Mavs are kind of a joke. They shot 10 threes, Sam. The whole game in 2025. That's just not a real basketball team. So Warriors.
No, Cooper Flag is legit. They do have some nice role players that I would like on my team, but the collection of players is disgusting. Like it's a roster with 2 G League guards and 15 power forwards. It's just everyone's power forward.
Didn't even know D'Lo was on the team. I saw him on the bench. I was like, oh. The hell?
Well, they'd rather go with Brandon Williams than D'Lo, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit on that front. They're starting to turn a corner here. This is the third straight game. Buddy's got DMP. Kuminga's pretty much, he's DMP'd last time, but he's pretty much been DMP'd since the NBA Cup. Settling into a little bit of a rotation here. I think it's resembling more what we saw last year, which I genuinely believe worked. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe 23-8 was a mirage. Maybe it was a mirage in the sense of that 60 win pace, and I don't think they're that good, but I think they were a good team. And I just refuse to believe that bringing back the same roster, they're now ass. That's kind of where I was at with it. And so I was like going through some of the numbers. Part of this is me not figuring out where I saved links. So apologies. Okay. I pulled it up right now. Last year they basically started Steph, Pods, Jimmy, Moody, Draymond. Last year, and they destroyed teams with that lineup. And we can say like, oh, I can't play it for all 82. It's not sustainable, too small, that sort of thing. Objectively, it works. That last year, they used it the most of any lineup in the post Jimmy trade era. This year, same amount of games that they've played. I think that's an important note, 31-31, and they've only used it 1/5 the amount of times. And that's not even with Draymond. I'm just talking, just the Steph, Pods, Moody, Jimmy combo. And I think part of the reason they're starting to turn around is I think Steve is finally over experimentation phase. And he's just kind of like, all right, I'm going to go with the stuff that kind of works, even if it has limitations. I'm going to go with it kind of works. And honestly, if he keeps leaning into it, I'm not saying that they're going to go 23-8 from here on out, because I just don't think that'll happen. But I do expect them to start racking up more wins than losses. Like, show me you can get 7 out of 8 or get 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 15. Do things that, quite frankly, teams who I think they're on the same level as, like, we'll talk about the Lakers later. They're kind of struggling. I don't think they're that good a team, but they rolled through a bunch of wins early to give themselves buffer. The Warriors didn't do that. I think that's what we're going to start seeing going forward from Christmas.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Lakers. Got some fucking takes for the Lakers. I'll tell you that. You're right. My only annoyance is, like, gosh, took that long. Took 30 games to get to the right lineups. That's the only, I feel like it's the biggest annoyance. Like, man, this team should have been there. But they're good. They're good. When they play like this, they're a good team. Like last night, they should have won the game by 30 points, right? Like
they're still not shooting the ball well.
Yep.
Like, that's the thing. All the advanced metrics, I was going through it this morning, pre-show prep. All the advanced metrics, like expected point differential, stuff that weighs like strength of schedule and kind of shot quality, have the Warriors somewhere between the 4th and 6th best team in the West. Obviously, their record says they're the 8th or 9th best team in the West. You are what your record says. But in theory, if the process is good over the course of a longer sample, you should eventually stop getting unlucky. Like, I think we would both agree those 3 losses they had right out of the NBA Cup, they should have won all 3 of them. In a normal NBA season, you probably win 2 out of 3 of them. In all 3 of them, they couldn't hit any shots, right? So to me, there are things to be concerned about there, but there is also kind of they're probably not going to shoot 28% from 3 all season, which is what they did last night, which is what they've done recently. And if they do, well, then they don't deserve to win anything anyway. So
I think that's probably the biggest key, man. I think the shot making is, I was watching it, family's back home, my little brother's back, and my brother watches every game, right? And he's just asking me, like, why can't they just make these shots? And I'm like, they're not real shooters, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, they're just not. But here's the thing. They're wide open. Like, it is not like Potts is getting a contested, like mid-contested 3. Melton, you can kind of have an excuse why I haven't played for so long. But Post is getting wide open looks. Everyone's favorite player right now, Draymond, is getting wide open looks. Down the line, Moses Moody played 30 minutes out last night. He must have had like 8 wide open threes. They just can't make it. And he's asking me, Andy, why can't they just? I told him they're just not real shooters. Like, if you put Clay in that situation, not 2025 Clay probably, but if you put Clay of 3-4 years ago, they would have been up by 25 points, right? It's literally that simple. That's it.
I think that's my big take watching this Warriors team is Klay Thompson is still massively historically underrated. Because actually, Moses Moody is a good shooter. Moses Moody is shooting 38% on high volume this season.
On the season, yeah.
But there is a massive difference. Yeah, Pods is shooting 40%. There is just such a massive difference between guys who can shoot the ball, who deserve to take open shots, who are 3-and-D guys, like a Moses Moody, and GOAT level shooter. Like Klay Thompson. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thing. And I think it probably hits harder for the Warriors and Warrior fans because we watched Steph and Klay together for a decade, and just the shooting displays that they put on, like, you normalize in your head. You're like, open look, cash it. And it's like, no, it's like most guys are more like Moses Moody. They go 2 for 8, then they go 4 for 8, then they go 2 for 8, then they go 4, it works. And it works out to 38, 39%, which is a good shot over the aggregate. But on a game-to-game basis, you're just like, and then you got someone like Klay Thompson where you're just like, is he going to miss open ones? Like, yeah, but only in so much as he's not going to shoot 100%, like there's just so much more there's so much more consistency, and the defense matters less with guys who can shoot it at that level. That's the other part of it. Moses, if you dig into his numbers, if he's open by 6 or more feet, which is considered wide open, 42%, 43%. if a guy contests him 30%, it's fine.
30%.
I'm not.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's like I'm just saying that's like more like normal league average. Like
Sure.
that's what we saw when we played like the 2018 Rockets, who put up all those threes. Those dudes could shoot, but if you really start pressing the Arizas, the Tuckers of the world, they can't really shoot it like that. And that's like the difference, because like if you go through Clay's number, at least before the injuries, it didn't really matter how open he was, because over the season he'd hit them all at 44%. Like basically wide open three or hand in my face three, he's putting it in at a similar level. And like we're not even talking about Steph, who's like on a different level with the type of shots he can hit, but it's just like.
So do you have the numbers for so the Warriors are bottom third? I know that for a fact. The Warriors are bottom third in offense. Do you
carried
know
by Steph? Yeah,
which is actually really embarrassing. What? And I'm asking you, so generally we don't know. Like their expected offense, if they shot better, what is that? Like, do they get to the middle?
Last time I checked it, which was before the Christmas game, so they are top 5. I think they're 5th in expected shooting percentage. In other words, the quality of the looks they're generating,
it's absurd.
On average, if Moses Moody, a guy who's a career 38% shooter, gets those shots, they go in at a certain percentage. So again, like all this stuff is like, end of the day, if you don't put the ball through the hoop, I don't give a fuck what your expected is, But if we're sitting here and we're talking about this team in terms of where they're headed and that sort of thing, I think you could be cautiously optimistic that the shooting's going to improve, that guys are going to shoot, they're going to regress to their mean, and as long as they're shooting these quality looks. Quentin posted another one, by the way. He can't hit anything right now. I think he can shoot. I don't think he's not 32% 3-point shooter, and that's what he is on the season right now. Last year he shot 41%. Even if he gets to 37, 38, that's a big jump.
He's a shooter. He's going to be better, and all of them are wide open. I do think this though, man. Like I agree with you on they're going to get better. I do think there still is a gap if they want to take the next step, which is why I think the comments are obviously bringing up. I think you've brought it up. Michael Porter Jr., Trey Murphy. So I think the shot making does get better, but for them to take the next step to jump into, maybe they don't get a top 3 or 4 seed. They probably won't, but for them to become that caliber of a team, they do need that type of shooter. Because I'll tell you right now, like Michael Porter Jr. ain't missing those. He ain't missing wide open ones. He also isn't missing semi-contested ones because he's 6'10".
Oh, he's
it's like Clay, right? So
him and Markkanen are probably, they're different positions, but they're the closest to Clay in terms of ability to move off screens, ability to hit shots with a hand in their face, ability to score efficiently with like no dribbles. Like, how the Warriors want to play. It's going to be a lot of like get the ball in the paint and try to kick it out, ball movement, dribble handoffs. I mean, they should prioritize MPJ the way they tried apparently with Lowry, just because I think on this team, he's going to make an all-star game this year because he's that good. But I think on this team, he's better than he would be on any other team, just because of the way they play, the type of shots he would get, and the role he would come into. Because if you had MPJ on the Warriors, obviously Steph is still the first option. He's commanding the doubles. MPJ wouldn't be the third option, though, like he was on Denver. He'd be more of kind of like a secondary option, like him and second. He'd probably score more
ball all game. Yeah,
Jimmy's getting 7. Jimmy's going to probably end up, if they got him, Jimmy would average like 16 points, 7 assists. Like that's where he'd be. You know what I mean? Like he'd do what he did last night, 14, 9 and 9, triple double stuff. He'd do that, and MPJ would be the one who would walk into 20 to 25 on like 14 shots, kind of like what he did with Denver, but with a little more elevated responsibility, if that makes sense.
The best part of this is we don't even need to tell everyone. There's no like, here's what the proof of concept is. He literally just fits into the Clay gap that the Warriors have been missing since 2022. Like there's no, this is potentially what it looks like. No, we know what it looks like. We know exactly what it looks like. He's going to be wide open.
And he's bigger and he plays bigger. So it also helps them in the sense of like, He's a good rebounder for a forward, 8-9 a game. He's a decent enough help. He's long, so he can at least use his length to contest guys. Like, yes, he's not a defender like prime Klay Thompson. Let's not lie, but he's not a sieve either. He fits into what they want to do on that end. And also, like, the other thing that has made me like MPJ more than I liked Lowry at the time, I've seen him do it in the playoffs. I've seen him hit those big shots when it matters. I've seen him send the Lakers home. Like, he's played in big games. He's not going to be scared in big games. He's not going to be scared to shoot the ball in big games. He's not going to be scared of the moment or anything like that.
Scared of shooting the ball. I'll tell you that.
But it's like, you notice, like, and that's kind of the thing. Like,
the Warriors got a lot of guys that are scared. That's right. So that's we're seeing it, right? They got a lot of fake shooters, and PJ ain't a fake shooter. He's probably as real as it gets. What is that, top 5 shooter in the NBA? Probably, just in terms of shooting talent. Probably top 5 in the NBA. So yeah, it's and plus he fits the Warriors. We probably don't have to give up too much to get him. Type of motion, like Trey Murphy is not what the Warriors are going to go for. They're gonna go and try to flip one pick for him and get hung up on. But Michael Porter Jr., I don't think the rest of the league are in love with him. So it's very
he's
much
expensive.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a year away from free agency, whereas, and he's had injury issues. Like, let's not lie. Like, that's another thing that concerns. Honestly, that's my biggest concern with him. Like, is the back going to start acting up again? Like that sort of thing.
He's not been hurt this year, though, right?
No, he's actually not been hurt for a few years now, but he's had like 3 back surgeries before the age of 30. It's just never a good sign.
He'll fit right in. He'll fit right in.
Yeah, he might not be 35 like the old guys, but his body is. No.
wait till he has to play center for Steve Kerr's Warriors. Just wait. That back is going to be real good.
Go box out Jokic. Yeah, no, that'll be a problem. You want to read real quick?
I completely derailed us, so we'll get back to the Warriors, the rotation, and we'll talk the rest of the West. But before we do that, Light Years Podcast, we are brought to you guys by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day on Prize Picks. Being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right on basketball season, man. The Christmas Day slate was incredible. We got amazing basketball yesterday. Anthony Edwards stole the show at the end of the night. You can go with Anthony Edwards more on everything in your lineup roster constructions. PrizePicks also now has early payouts, so if your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option of cash out those winnings before the game even starts. It's easy to use. You guys know how to use it. Create a lineup. All you got to do is pick more or less on a few player stats for your shot to win. I'm going with Brock Purdy Sunday Night Football, baby. Chicago Bears are fraudulent. I'm going with my Niners. Again, Brock's on a heater. I think we're seeing Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco type of heater. All the way to the Super Bowl. So download the app today. Use code LightYears. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LightYears. LightYears to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Niners should go ask Ray Lewis to unretire if they want to do that.
Fred is coming back. Yeah, Fred is coming back. He's coming back.
Fred isn't the whole defensive line. So yeah. God, that whole thing sucks just because they're dealing on offense right now. There's no way around it,
Go 40.
All right, guys. Christmas yesterday. I hope you guys got the gift that keeps on giving. Skims. Nothing's better than a good pair of underwear. Nothing's better than Skims, the perfect blend of comfort and fit, perfect blend of flexibility and structure. Best pair of underwear I've ever owned. The cotton 5-inch briefs, by far the best boxer brief I've ever seen. So, guys, if you didn't get them for Christmas, I'd say order them now. Post-holidays, there's going to be sales. There's going to be good opportunities here. Guys, shop Skims Men's at skims.com. And if you're looking for the perfect gift for the whole family, Skims just launched their biggest holiday store ever. Also available at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey. Select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Yeah. All right, let's get back to the game a little bit. By the way, let's talk Steve Kerr and Draymond, because I think it's important after the Monday thing and the way that they like you said, Steve talking about mortality and fading dynasty. and all that sort of stuff. I didn't get a chance to talk with you on Monday, but I didn't think that dust up was that big a deal. Twitter did what Twitter is going to do with it, but I'm just like, for Steve and Draymond, who are basically like an old married couple, that was like a 2 out of 10 to me. I've seen much worse from the two of them. And I can't, Jimmy was hilarious yesterday. I'm going to play it right now.
Oh my God. It's incredible.
I love you. 1 second. I got to actually.
We got the audio coming. Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, it kind of makes sense that. Yeah.
I expected it to happen. That's okay. We move on from it.
Did you learn anything about how they handle those type of situations? Being, kind of this was maybe the first.
I like that. Y'all yell at each other. Turn me on a little bit. I'm not gonna even lie. I like that. I like the confrontation. It's good for us.
It's very on brand. Very, very on brand for Jimmy. I kind of agree with him. This is how I felt Monday night. I obviously didn't do the show with you guys. I think I talked about it on Tuesday when I went solo. Yep. I was cautiously optimistic that they just needed to clear the air a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way Draymond, Kerr, Jimmy are. They're confrontational dudes. I don't know how else to put it. It was that way in 2014. It's sure as hell going to be that way in 2026. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of the way that they operate. And my big thing was I just need to see them come out and start rolling from there, because you have that dust up, you clear the air. I don't really know what Steve said to Draymond that set him off, but clearly he said something that made him feel the need to apologize. He's not apologizing if he didn't say something he knows he shouldn't have said too. Anyway, my broader point on it is it's okay to have those dust ups. What really matters is you got to start winning after it to prove to everyone that, it mattered. It made your team better. Like, remember the Thunder game where Draymond and Jimmy called everyone out and then they go out there and ball against the Spurs? That shit only works if you show up the next game and you start winning. No one wants to hear about any of that shit if you then go out there and throw up on yourself.
Can the Warriors get retroactively added like 2 more wins for those Spurs wins? Because those are looking pretty damn good in hindsight. I think they deserve to be like 18 wins deep now. I agree with you on the second part for sure. The first part I disagree with you, but I think you win this round. I think I think you're right on this one. I was pretty low on the Draymond stuff when that dust up happened, because it's the 20th time, right? But now that I think about it and seeing the results, and we'll see a week from now, the conversation might be different. But I think you're right. I think there was some underlying tension with the way Draymond had been playing, and I think you hit it on the head with the married couple part, where things can get not talked about for a long time. And sometimes the only way that you talk about it is in like an explosion, right? And Draymond, again, I'm at this point not giving him any slack. I do think what he said about, hey, I walked away, I'm proud of myself for that, which is like, dude, like,
it's funny in context, but
yeah, you can't really be slurping yourself for that. But as all of us, everybody here can relate to being in a big argument with your partner, sometimes it's better just to shut the fuck up and walk away instead of saying some shit that maybe you might regret in front of everyone. So I think that's one is true. I think the second part,
you mean like what he did in 2016 in Oklahoma City in the locker room?
Remember when Lisa Salters and it might be someone else, but I remember where she was like,
no, it was Lisa Salters.
Very scary, and there was police. Remember that? That was like
cops standing outside with their hands on the gun. I was just like, Jesus, man. It's like, I get it. He's scary when he yells, but sheesh,
But okay, so the Jimmy part I think is the one that did change my mind, though, because I do think when you're talking about the leaders of the team, it's obviously those 3 guys, and if Jimmy's bought into that, right, then I think Jimmy knows, like, hey man, like, we're not at a great spot here, and if this stuff happens, you either lock in or you're done as a team, right? Either everyone's tuned out and you lose the next couple games, and you guys aren't playing well, and so I think the way that he said it, the way he laughed about it, the way that I believe him, that it made him kind of happy to see it. I think that's good for this team, and we'll see what it looks like the next couple games. I do think Draymond struggled last night, but all in all, as long as you win, it doesn't really matter, right? And so It doesn't matter how you win. Doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. It does seem like they're okay moving forward. The other thing I think I didn't note when I did the show is, bro, it did seem like all the players were like, hey, man, we've seen this show before. We don't really care. Do you see Podge standing there? He was like, whatever. Quentin Post is kind of looking at it like, whatever. Everyone's kind of like, just, all right, like, it's a fucking Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, you see that and you're just like, okay, like, yeah. So it doesn't seem like it's going to kill the team. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to kill the team.
Let's talk the Draymond basketball part, because you're right. He was pretty meh at best against Dallas. I mean, both him and Steph were bad. Let's be honest.
God, Steph.
I mean, Steph, it just goes without saying it's Christmas, right? So the part that I'm coming to grips with, and when I was going through the data, I'm starting to see is Draymond really is only effective with Jimmy if he's at the 5. They can get away with him at the 4 a little bit, but they're just not as good. And so Steve said he's not changing the starting lineup, but I do wonder if the move is to bring Draymond off the bench at some point, knowing that, and this is why I wouldn't trade him, to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to get a better center than playoff Draymond Green at the 5. I really don't. I would rather bring him off the bench, stagger him in Jimmy's minutes, let him play 5 to 10 minutes at the 5 with them together, play 25-ish minutes a game in the regular season.
I agree. Yeah.
See that small lineup with hopefully an upgrade. Hopefully you add like an MPJ type of upgrade in the playoffs, because I think it's still really fucking hard to guard, and it's their best defensive lineup when they get Draymond at the 5. I just, that's what I think. You know, I've said it before. I'm not, if the right offer comes across, like, I'm not opposed to trading him, but I have such a hard time imagining a world where they get rid of him and have better options when you get to the playoffs.
Also, they might not have better options in the regular season. Their issue is they need to figure out a way to not play him. They need to play him in the right combinations, which is, I think, what they're doing now. I really think, and you talk about it, the Jimmy and Draymond stuff, they can play together. I think when they're completely turned up, like completely like, hey, we're both going 125%. We're locked in. We're gonna go 23-8. But I do think in an 82 game stretch, I think they're doing that now, dude. Like, I think they're putting Draymond as much as he can with Steph, because I don't think he can play. It has to be, the combinations have not mattered more, which is, I think, when we talk about the earlier part where you say the best lineup, I think the starting lineup makes sense. It does. It is the closest proximity that they have, or facsimile. Wow, my post Christmas to having like enough shooting around Draymond and Jimmy Butler. So they take Draymond out quick, they take Jimmy out quick, one or the other, and then they put Steph with Draymond coming back in. Like, the rotations are a lot different now, and I think it makes a little more sense. And then Jimmy can play with shooters, and then he has a rim runner. Last night, TJD was pretty damn good.
Yeah, TJD's been playing good for a few games now.
Yeah, dude. So I think if they can manage those rotations, they can beat like regular season like teams. But what you're saying is they can't beat the best teams without him. Right. It's very clear that if you play Wemby, or even they're going to play OKC next week, like, how are they going to guard OKC? If
let's go back to Wemby. You just watched it when they had to play the Spurs and get a win. They're not putting Quentin Post on Wemby. No, they're not putting Al Horford on Wemby.
Yeah.
It's Draymond. He's still by far their best center. But he has real limitations given his age and his size, so you can't go to it all the time. And it puts him in this weird spot because he is the third highest salary on the team. You kind of expect your third highest salary not to be like kind of a boutique break out of glass when you need piece. You're expecting more consistency. And so that's where I get when people are like, we need to trade him and use that salary to bring back someone who's an every game player, a little more consistent. So I get it. I just don't think it's going to exist.
Well, the trade doesn't exist because where's the value though? I'm like, and I'm the Draymond, like, I haven't been impressed. I've just not been happy about it. But you're not trading Draymond away and getting some back that really is changing stuff for you. And then you're losing so much. Like, that's why it makes sense to, like, the Kuminga stuff. Like, you're not losing anything trading Kuminga. He's not playing right now. but he's 23 million. You add on Buddy's contract, that's 30+ million, right? Like you're getting something back.
Who the fuck wants that?
Throw some picks in there. Can we throw like
yeah, there you go. Now it's tradable. Yeah.
Can we do picks in there? Do you think Kuminga's 20, they're making the same thing, or Draymond, which one holds more value? Just Draymond or Kuminga in a trade to someone, no picks, no nothing. Which one do you think holds
depends
more
on the team.
Yeah.
Kuminga offers more teams, a random shot at upside. Let's see if we can figure it out with him. And if it doesn't work, you just get off it real quick, Yep. So I think probably more teams want that, but I wouldn't be surprised if some veteran teams, some teams that are kind of like on the fringe of contending are like, fuck it. Draymond's a playoff guy. We're paying him for another year. It's not the world's biggest deal. Maybe he's that piece that gets our defense across the finish line. And if he isn't, we're not like, neither of them are long-term commitments. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the world's, I don't think they're negative. I don't think they're negative assets per se. I just don't know how much you can get for them without a pick. So
definitely picks going in. But if you lose Draymond, like if you lose Kuminga, just nothing happens. Like you're better for it. He's not doing anything for you. You lose Draymond, even though he's really struggling and he's really not going to be that type of player anymore. You're still, you just said you're still losing stuff, man. You're still losing a bunch of stuff. You can't just trade him, and what you get back isn't going to be the same amount of value.
I know it's just 2 games in November. But I would caution everyone to think about what the Warriors look like against any of the good playoff teams without Draymond. Who's guarding Wemby? No one. You're getting torched. Who's guarding Jokic? No one. You're getting torched. And by the way, those guys are going to put numbers up on Draymond, but it can get worse. Did you just see what Jokic did to Gobert last night? It's like he was playing against me. You know what I mean? 56 and 15. I don't know. He missed like 2 shots all game. It was like that shit doesn't happen to Draymond. Draymond's going to force more turnovers. Draymond's going to make him earn it a little more. And which is like, that matters. And then secondarily, like he organizes your entire team's defense. So even if he is declining, even if he is dangerously close to the end, until you give me someone who can replace him as a defensive anchor in games that matter, in moments that matter, I have to keep him out of trades because, to your point, he still has value for you. Whereas Kuminga, to your point, not the rotation. Like
I forgot he was on the team. I forgot he was on the team.
At this point, I'm pretty sure that they've decided.
Yep.
Watch, he's probably gonna play next game. Now that I'm saying this, but it feels like it's we just don't want you getting injured before the trade deadline. Yeah. Both sides are on the. Let's just
we're good.
Let's blame Steve publicly and let's figure out something that works for both sides on January 15th, January 20th, whatever it may be, right?
Steve is like, blame me. I'm happy. Blame me. Now
I mean, it does help the Warriors to like have Joe publicly destroying Steve on that because then it's him on an island. I just think the problem is like most basketball people are going to look at that and be like, champion coach or crazy billionaire owner? Because you're not making trades with fans. You're making trades with like other basketball people. Unless, of course,
Vivek is a fan. I'll tell you that.
Unless, of course, they have an owner who thinks they know it all, which is coincidentally the 2 teams that like Kuminga. It's kind of funny how that works out, right?
Dumbest teams are run by their owners, not basketball people. Hey, back to Draymond. I think the other thing too is like if that's the case and you're not able to really limit the inevitable. If I think what you have to do is you 2 things. You need to limit the minutes that he plays. I think we talked about that. And then the second thing is you need to put better shooting around him. And I think that only comes in a trade, right? There's only so much you can do to say, all right, we're gonna put Moody and Post and Pods next to Draymond, and we'll go small and we'll get more shooting out there. But end of the day, it goes back to this team needs one more real shooter. And last night, right? Like if you put GP2 next to Draymond, it's just like it's so hard. I get it. They still make the right passes. They're smart. They pass to Steph, but just you gotta go just get that one shooter. Because if nobody's guarding Draymond, 2 people are guarding Steph. That's like 3 people on the court guarding 2 guys, 4 people on the court guarding 2 guys. just stick MPJ in the corner, right? Just stick Cam Johnson into someone that they should have traded for. Like that's an easy one. Just that's a guy that if you leave him wide open, it's 48%.
I mean, MPJ is nicer than that because you can actually just run the offense with him as the primary option to let Steph float for games too, which like also,
nice.
Hey, it'd be nice if Steph didn't have to score 30 every game. That's another reason, by the way, I felt good about yesterday's win. When they win games and Jimmy's in facilitator mode and Steph is mostly ass, that's how I know that they're trending in the right direction. You know, when they have to win games with Steph going pure hero mode, okay, if it's the Spurs or the Thunder, I get it. That has to happen. Yeah. If they need him to go hero mode to beat like the Kings, that's when I'm like, well, they're kind of screwed, man. They're kind of, you know, if they needed him to go hero mode against this rebuilding Mavs team, I'd be like, we got some problems here, you know? So,
yep. Great.
Before we move forward, I want to talk a little bit more about Christmas, but I just want to remind everyone, our friends at Body Spec, guys, everyone's New Year's resolution is going to be about getting back into shape. The number one thing to do to get back into shape is hold yourself accountable and see where your body's actually at. So what's cool about Body Spec is you can get a DEXA scan for only $45. What is a DEXA scan? It's a highly accurate method of measuring your body's composition. So lean muscle mass, body fat percentage, visceral fat, fat around your organs, all the stuff that really tells you what's going on with your body. They've made that affordable for all. Traditionally, that's been like a $300, $500 thing, reserved only for pro athletes. You know, Steph Curry gets it. Christian McCaffrey gets it, but Andy and Sam, they don't have access to them. Body Spec has made it affordable for all. Again, code LightYears45. Get a DEXA scan for only $45. Start your fitness journey right. So we're, I keep going back to Spurs game stuff, but like, you see Spurs, that's the third time they've beat the Thunder in 2 weeks. I think Shea's awesome. Just a reminder, how good Steph is and how much more valuable what Steph does is. Because if your offense is predicated on getting to the rim, Wemby's going to make your life hell. Absolute hell. But when you can pull Wemby out 30 feet and still dance on him and hit those shots, look, you don't make him ineffective, but you've taken him out of the part of the game where he just destroys everyone. And that's part of the reason I'm just like, to your point, get another shooter, go with the small ball lineup in the playoffs. Let's dance. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, you go get yourself at MPJ. They're all locked in. They're spacing you out. They play like no one else in the league. Yeah, they may just break down because they're too old to do 2 months of playoffs, but I want to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd rather see that than not. You want to talk OKC Spurs? Let's do it. Yeah. Let's. It's the Thunder are endlessly fascinating to me, and I can't believe the Spurs are already this good. I think the NBA needs it. Obviously, you and I are Warriors fans. I don't know if I loved seeing OKC, have a chance at 73, 74 wins. So they're not going to get there anymore, which is like, it's like the Miami Dolphins going 16-0. It's like every year we're going to, or every other year.
Should we pop champagne when they lose number 10?
Well, it's one of those things where it's like you wait until someone the Thunder have real weaknesses. I think that you and I have, you especially have talked about a lot, specifically around shooting, that I think got papered over when they won the championship. And that's how it goes. You win the championship, you don't really talk about the bad stuff. You just talk about how awesome you were. And they might not have ran into
a team that could truly expose that weakness the way the Spurs are.
They might have, and then Halliburton tore his Achilles, right? But honestly, like it's not like the Pacers defense was that great. I think the Pacers just super gritty. Wemby is one in and of itself, something else, and I think that we just don't see something like that. I watched Jokic the game after at night, and the Jokic's big weakness was Ant just got a pick and roll three every time he wanted, right? And we always talk about Steph as the great equalizer on those specific things. And I think Wemby and Jokic are completely different players, but the same weaknesses against someone like Steph, which is set a screen, shoot from 30 feet. And there's only one guy in the NBA that can do it consistently, game in and game out, and win you multiple games doing that. And I think that's where the Warriors I mean, this shit is obvious. I think but it's never been more obvious when you watch the Thunder really struggle. Who was it after the game? Was it Shea? I think that just said, "Hey, like, what is the kind of what's the Spurs doing that makes it so difficult for you?" And Shea's
it was Jalen Williams. Shea says like, "Well, 1B, he changes
Wemby.
the geometry of the court."
Yeah, 7'5" dudes sitting in the paint, and you're like, well, and again, I'm going back to it yesterday, and my brother's asking me like, "Do the Warriors ever go to the rim?" And I'm like, "Well, they don't have anyone that can go to the rim." In situations where you play the Spurs and Wemby, kind of cool that you don't need to go to the rim, right? Because shot making that you get from Steph doesn't require you to base your entire game plan around that. Now, that affects someone like Jimmy, but with Steph, you can just shoot 32-footers all game long against that big. So that makes him a weird matchup.
You also
Warriors.
You also have a better chance of getting a layup with Steph out there because he's going to pull Wemby farther away. And we saw Wemby make one of the most insane recoveries I've ever seen on Jimmy Butler. So it's not like foolproof or anything, but it's also the Thunder don't have anything like Steph to pull guys away. And you're seeing it. Like, what did they shoot last night? They were 11 for 44 from 3. They generally don't even take that many threes. But why did they take that many threes? Because Wemby owned the paint. They couldn't get there. It was a lot of bailout shots, and like their shooters are low-key like the Warrior role player shooters. They can hit shots. If you're living and dying by Caruso and Lou Dort, like you're probably dying. Like you don't need that many. I'm looking at the 3 games that the Thunder played against the Spurs the last 3 weeks. 9 for 37.
9 for 37. Geez.
11 for 44. And then their best game was the one 3 nights ago. They still lost by 30 or 20, sorry. 12 for 30. So, yeah, they hit 40% in one of the 3 games, but they didn't even put that many up in that game. And in that game, they turned the ball over more than normal. So, I mean, the Spurs, they might be the second best team in the West already. They might be the best team in the West. I don't know. But, yeah, it's like it's the whole styles make a fight thing. Most teams who protect the rim don't really bother Shea that much. Wemby is just a different animal. I just don't think anyone's going to beat the Spurs if your entire offense is based on like rim pressure. Like he's too long. Also his timing's too good. You know what I mean?
He don't make any sense. Wemby don't make any damn sense. And the other thing is defensively, they've got guys that can not defend Shea, but at least they've got quick guys that can attack him. And then Chet Holmgren, which is kind of their X factor. I think like sort of underrated with the Thunder because he doesn't get that many shots up. And defensively, he's pretty damn good. He's completely like he's like the Gobert to Wemby's Jokic. It just I don't even know what Chet does out there.
Really good player, but against Wemby, he has his number. Because Wemby does everything that he does, but it's 5 inches taller.
What do you do? Yeah. It's like that Phantom quote. Everyone thinks they're a fan until a real Phantom pulls something like that. I'm butchering it, but it's like Chet is that guy, is that unicorn, quote unquote unicorn guy, and then all of a sudden it's just a quicker, longer, better dude with more dog in him, and it's just like so. Do you think it's real? I mean, they beat him 3 times in 2 weeks. Like, do you think it's real? I kind of thought it was fluky for a little bit. And
I think it's real.
And
the Spurs are. Look, it's going to be their first playoffs with Wemby, so I'm not picking them to go deep, but I think everything they're doing is real. I think Steven Castle is a menace.
Ooh.
Fox is a good player, even if I think he's a little overrated over the years, but like Wemby's obviously the truth. Dylan Harper, dude. Harry B. Warriors could use a Harry B right now.
Yes, they could.
I mean, he's just a good role player at this stage of his career.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
knows. So Devin Vassell, I didn't even mention Devin Vassell, Warrior trade target favorite. Devin Vassell, useful wing. Like they got a lot of good players. There's no reason this shouldn't be real. Like I guess they can always get hurt, but they're real to me. Let's also talk. I want to talk Lakers a little bit too. So the interesting thing about all the expected stats is they all say the Warriors are better than the Lakers. But
I can't wait for this.
It's cool. It's cool. It's all cool. But like end of the day, they're 19-10 and the Warriors are 16-15. Right. So like if you buy into those numbers meaning something, you buy the Warriors are eventually going to catch the Lakers. And I think that's the team they need to catch to avoid the play-in.
Yep. The expected numbers have the Warriors. I mean, sorry, have the Lakers. They're. What did you spelled this out
8th.
earlier this morning? Okay.
8th.
Okay.
They're technically a negative on the season.
It's impressive.
But yeah, they've allowed more points than they've scored, so they're technically a negative.
That's impressive.
But they're 19-10. Like it is what it is,
I mean, they're a great clutch time offense, which makes sense. And I feel like they play the Jazz every other day. So I think their schedule has been pretty straightforward. So they'll play some good teams, I'm sure. You're right, though. I don't know if the Warriors catch the Wolves for 6. I don't know if they won't catch the Nuggets. I don't know if they'll catch the Rockets, who are struggling a little bit. But you watch. I mean, last night the Lakers are just Reeves is hurt. Luka just came back. He's kind of hobbling around out there. LeBron doesn't move like on defense ever because he's 40.
There's some weird energy with LeBron too.
And JJ's just, I don't know, man. Like JJ's out of his freaking mind. I don't know how you can. I don't know.
I think everyone listening to this probably saw the quotes. There's no way he made it better for their team. I think he's just putting pressure on them.
What do you mean?
That's
what do you
like? He's freaking out at them like it's a playoff game, and I'm like, you have a 41-year-old.
Yep.
One of the greatest players of all time. You can't like he's not going to respond to that sort of shit in December, Luka, amazing talent. He's also not responding to that shit either, And then their role players are they had a nice start to the season, but they're turning back into pumpkins. Like
Ayton is.
They actually remind me a lot, like Rui and Ayton remind me a lot of Kuminga, where they have these physical tools to be good role players. Like you would think DeAndre Ayton could be a great rim protector, and you would think Rui could be a good 3-and-D wing, but they want to score the ball. They want to score the ball. That's just kind of like that. And it's exactly like Kuminga. Kuminga has the physical tools to be a wing stopper, but what is it? He just wants to score the ball, And so I could see JJ's trying to like coach them into being like Marcus Smart. And it's just like, I don't know, man, you can't change someone's DNA. No. I guess it happens every now and then. Like Wiggins is a great example, but Wiggins always had more natural defensive, like just feel.
Yeah.
And it was more about like him figuring out on offense. He was, it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of chill being the third or fourth option, So, that's the one where, I'm sure internally they're like, why can't we do with Ayton what the Warriors did with Wiggins? On face value, I'm like, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Because he's also that guy who has like the physical tools are obvious, right? And you're just like, why does let's just lock him into defending and running the rim, Doesn't need to do anything else. But I just don't think he wants to be that guy. And then the more important part, which is why I'm going to fade the Lakers, and I faded them to start the season. It didn't look good for me for the first month, but season's long. Early. I will be right. The other point is one that Warrior fans have not wanted to acknowledge this season. Culture matters, dude.
Yeah.
Like Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Draymond. The Warriors do stuff a certain way, whether you like it or not. I used to have I just accept it. You know what I mean? I'm just like kind of at an acceptance phase. Like, even if I don't like every decision, it's just like, they want 4 chips. They know what they're doing, The Lakers, like JJ's trying to do Spoelstra Kerr stuff without having the resume or the ingrained culture or the leaders to do it. So I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work at all. I don't think it's going to work. I think they're going to continue the skid. And then I think you're going to start seeing the LeBron, Luka stuff start bumping heads, because like that's kind of the part of it. Like LeBron comes back. That's another mouth to feed. That's another guy who should have the ball in his hands because he's LeBron. Right. And that just makes the guys like Rui and Ayton have to be like true role players. I just don't think that's who they are. I don't think that's who so then they turn to like a Vando, and he's limited. Like he is a role player, but he can't shoot the ball. So it's
Vando's a Warriors player, by the way. Vando should be on the Warriors. That's a guy that can, defend and not shoot the ball. It's perfect. I mean, the Warriors need him. It could be another GP2, left-handed too. I think the next month is going to be. We're about to see the difference between the two cultures, and franchises. We'll see. I mean, Luka's of the two teams. I think Luka is very clearly the best regular season player. In 82 game stretch, Luka is better than Steph now. He's better than Jimmy. He's better than LeBron.
Do you know what he's averaging on the season?
30 points, something like 30.
33.7, 8.7, 8.5. I mean, as much as there's aspects of his game that I don't like, and I question if he can win a title.
Yep.
The ease at which he's just 30, 10, and 10 is ridiculous, you know?
Well, that's
and
why
it's efficient.
That's why they've banked 19 wins, right? And that's why. Because if look, love Steph, love Jimmy, but like those guys aren't those guys anymore in the regular season. If that was the case, the Warriors would have 19 wins. Very clearly, he is the in your prime superstar. That's the difference between the two teams. But across the next month, we will see because the Warriors have an incredible schedule, tons of rest. They're on a, knock on wood. The vibes are solid.
We said this 3 weeks ago.
I know. But now we'll see. The Draymond blow up helped this team because really, I'm not comparing the JJ Redick blow up to the Draymond blow up, but there is really only two ways. We've mentioned it. There's only two ways. You either go and kind of shoot off from there, right? Hopefully the Warriors are doing that, where it's like, hey man, like we had our argument. Now we're locked in. Everyone's dealing with it. Where it's all good. Everything's all hashed out. Or you go the other way, which is I think you and I are wish casting with the Lakers, which is there's a blow up and it's only going to get worse, right? Ever since LeBron came back, they're 3-6. Their defense is terrible. Austin Reeves is now hurt. We'll see how long he's going to play. Luka just came back from like they got
the Kings on. Their next game is the Kings, so you better not drop that one. Better not drop that one, buddy, or it's going to be real bad. When Russ hits a dagger in your face, then it's going to be a full blown. You
know what? I'm watching that. I'm 2.5 hours. I'm tuning into that one.
It's at the same time as Niners Bears.
I'm watching both. I might put that one on the no, I'm not putting that one on the big screen. But I just think there's two ways we'll go.
Hey, if it's close in the fourth and Russ has that look, I might switch.
All right, Brock. I'm sorry. I'm not watching Caleb Williams. I'm sorry. I'm out of there. I'm watching Russ.
One last thing on this. I just pulled up the clutch stats here. The Warriors are 6-10 in clutch time games. Not good. I have no way of isolating how many of those games involve Steph and Jimmy together. I would assume the record with Steph and Jimmy is closer to 500, but then again, they lost 3 clutch time games last week with both of them playing. So maybe not. Who knows? Lakers, guess their record in clutch. I'll put it this way. They've played 10 clutch time games. Guess their record.
8-2.
10-0.
Oh my God.
So look, Luka's one of the best individual shot creators, which is highly valuable in those moments. Then you give him that Laker whistle where they can foul the fuck out of you, and then you can't touch them.
Wow.
I don't know, but it does kind of speak to they haven't been a good team. To your point, it's just been Luka and Reeves for the most part, like closing the close games. Otherwise, you take those 10 games out of it, you know what they are? 9-9.
I mean, even if they go 5-5,
9-10,
right? Or
sorry.
6-4, if they go 6-4, right? In those
which
games,
is most teams end up close to 500 in those moments because it is what it is in the regular season.
Yeah. No, and look, they're better than that. They should be like 7-3, I think, because I mean, Luka's Luka, right, in the regular season. But I do think, they're coming back to dude. This next month will be huge because I mean, the Lakers are the same thing with the Warriors, right? Once the trade deadline comes, the Lakers are blowing something up. Like somebody or everybody's getting traded. I don't know who, but
one of you's not going to be here. Don't know which one, but one of you's going.
I think the Warriors is very clear. We know who's not going to be here. Now the question is Buddy still going to be here? Is Moody still going to be here? Stuff like that. But it's like we know Kuminga won't be here. All right, what is this? This is the Warriors schedule, right? Coming up.
The Warriors so that they will have played 41 games when we get to the 15th of January.
All right.
Disregard the fact they play the Knicks there. So they won. That's 11 games. That's 10 games since they won against Dallas. Next 10 games to get them to 41 games, officially 50% of the season. They got a little road trip here. It's dicey noon game in Toronto, Brooklyn, Charlotte.
Back to back.
Then they come home.
Yeah.
No, then they come home, and you got OKC, Utah, go to the Clippers, come back home, Milwaukee, Sac, Atlanta, and then the team that keeps me up at night, Portland.
The boogeyman.
Dude, I'd rather play the Spurs than Portland right now. But yeah, okay, 10 games. Tell me what you think their record's going to be.
So this has to be 7-3. I am hoping 7-3. I think it'll be 7-3. It'll be 3 losses. They'll pick up the L in LA. They'll pick up the L in OKC, and then they'll throw one other L in there somewhere that'll piss us off. But they've got to win 7. They've got to go 7-3. That'll put them 5 games above 500 going into January 15th, which I don't know if you think that's good enough or not. But I think 7-3. You could argue though, right? They should do better than that, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. 7-3, I think, is where they need to get to.
7-3, which would make them 23-18 halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Which is lower than we expected, but also puts them in good position that if they get the right trade, they could still get to 50.
Yep.
Probably won't, but could, Yep. They could. I'm setting that as the minimum. I need to see 7-3.
Yep.
I think they'll do 8-2. You know what's going to make me optimistic? I think that first road game, Toronto at noon, that's the trickiest one. Toronto's playing good ball. They're super long. Get my fits on. First road game, like that sort of stuff. And it's an early start. Like it's just a weird time for a game, right? They're going to fly into Toronto. Their bodies aren't going to be ready to play. If they win that one, I'm going to be pretty optimistic they go on a run here, particularly with how home heavy it is after these 3 games. I don't know. The Thunder are in all sorts of sorts, and who knows? Let me look at their schedule right now. They could be on a deep road swing by the time they have to go to the Warriors.
And by the way, a sneaky back-to-back against Michael Porter Jr. on Monday night, and Cam Thomas is back, by the way. So that's Warriors love getting torched by guys like that, even though they're not very good.
Yeah.
But, Michael Porter Jr. showcase game, I think, very clear what's going to happen. He's going to go for 45 and point at Mike. Trade for me. Does Mike Porter Jr. even care? I don't know. MPJ seems like a kind of guy that likes just chilling and dropping 30. Anyway, you were talking about OKC schedule. I have them picked for a loss there on that one, but I don't know.
Probably they're gonna I don't think they're gonna go 10-0. That's just not how it usually works. And OKC's the best team they're playing during this span, so the most obvious loss. I don't know. But it is pretty winnable. Like even at Clippers, they generally play well against the Clippers. Are not good. You know what I mean?
No.
Milwaukee, I don't think they're gonna have Giannis back. Granted, didn't matter last time they played, but in theory, Sacramento should be a win. Basically, as long as they stay healthy during this stretch, they should start getting some ground separation and just get themselves back in the mix. Because, we can talk about the expected point stuff all we want. We can talk about how they should be. They're better in their record all we want. At some point, they need to actually make the record better. That needs to happen. And this is a very good span for them to catch up ground on the Lakers. Honestly, the Lakers are probably the team we need to be eyeballing the most aggressively. I'll end it with this right now.
Yep.
You look at, Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets. Don't even think about them. There's your top 3. We'll figure out the order another time, right? Minnesota, too young. I just don't think they're going to drop enough games, so I'm going to keep them in the top 6. Rockets, too young. I don't think they're going to drop enough games. So there's your 4 or 5. So what we're really talking about is that fight for the 6th seed. Phoenix has been valiant, but if you can't pass Phoenix, you don't deserve it anyway. They're not that good. They're solid though. They're plucky. They're going to definitely make the play-in. Lakers are the one that they look vulnerable, and so if the Warriors can get in, that should be the goal. Right now, you are 4 games behind the Lakers. 4 games behind the 6th seed. Can you cut that in half? Can you get to being right there around January 15th? I think you got to. I've given this team a lot of excuses this year because I genuinely do believe in them, but they need to do it at some point.
This is a good hour of hopium right here. And by the way, finish it off with the immigrant dad. Hey, nothing matters until the results actually matter. And that's where the Warriors are at, man. It's just a lot of excuses.
Right now they're the kid who knows how to do the math equations, but then they get on the test and they screw it up.
No, it's like, you go. And, I also think too, we'll get out of here, but just more hopium, dude. They're healthy. All the injuries that they've had is hopefully, they're back from those. Steph just got back from an injury. Jimmy's been Al Horford. Hey, sciatica, not good. Coming back and shooting like that. Maybe it was good that he sat for almost 2 weeks there. Melton, he's gonna have to start making some shots as he plays off the rust for a year. And we already talked about the rest of the team making open shots. So it's like now is at the end of the season, it might be a different story. It might be they might be too tired by then. But right now, it is the best time. The team has never been healthier. Some of the guys are playing really well. Some of the guys can still play really well. And it seems like Draymond's crazy thing didn't affect anything. So we're good to go.
I mean, we didn't even talk Melton and Pods. Like Melton's been
Yeah.
I like that Melton game. He's just so good. He just needs to shake the rust off. Like he's gonna eventually start shooting the ball the way he normally does. But you can just see the vision with him. A guy who can actually defend, good shooter, quick decision maker. If you close out on him, he can attack the rim, which Moses can't do, right? So it's like exactly what you want for a role player. Pod's been playing out of his mind. Looks like the guy looked in the second half of last year. There's a lot of good things going. So now's the time. I think this is the fourth time we've said this year. Now's the time to go on the run.
Once they trade,
can only go to this well so many damn times.
Yeah.
But you know what? If they screw this one up again, I'll find another stretch in the schedule to go to.
Yes, we will. All right, guys.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it, everyone.